Buenos días, bon día, and good morning. Estimado General Pérez, representantes distinguidos, vecinos y amigos, es un verdadero placer estar aquí con ustedes en esta conferencia tan importante. Les agradezco a todos por participar en lo que será un intercambio de ideas y perspectivas muy vigoroso. And with that, I've reached the limits of my beginner Spanish. I'm told I get a little bit better with each conference, but please indulge me as I continue the rest of my comments in English. Let me start by thanking our most gracious co-hosts, General Perez and the Guatemalan Armed Forces, for all of the hard work leading up to this historic conference. I would also like to thank our panel participants and our presenters for agreeing to share their expertise and insights. And while they explicitly told me not to recognize them, I'm going to make the unwise decision to ignore a U.S. Navy Master Chief Petty Officer. And I would like to thank Mrs. Stephanie Roman and Master Chief Diane Tortora for their tireless efforts to help pull together this important conference. They've set an extraordinarily high standard for all future conferences. Now, I'd also like to thank all of you for participating in this important work. The agenda of this conference may be a discussion of women in the military, but this is not just a woman's issue. We are here today to work through something much larger than that. As I said in my letter of invitation, what we are going to talk about this week is fundamentally commander's business. Now let me say that again. What we are talking about is commander's business. We're here to talk about our future and the future of our forces. Many of you know that this is an issue I care personally and very deeply about. I've talked about it in previous conferences, but it bears repeating. We are here because we know that we must adapt in the face of the complex missions facing our men and women. Experience has shown us that real success and our operational effectiveness depends on more than just military capabilities. Our success and our effectiveness lie in accepting and valuing differences as strengths. When we value diversity of thought and experience, we become stronger, more creative, and more cohesive. When we respect different opinions, we build trust and mutual confidence with the people around us. When we can include perspectives outside our own boundaries, we're better able to reach consensus, to foster cooperation, and to succeed as one. So this isn't a nice to do. This isn't about checking a box or meeting a quota. It's about something far more meaningful than mere words or the appearance of change. So what are we really talking about? We're talking about achieving value-added inclusion. This involves creating a wider definition and vision of who we are as modern, effective military teams, and who can and who should be part of the better future that we forge together. For some of us, and I want to explicitly include myself in this category, this will involve a change in culture and mindset, in small ways and sometimes large. While ambitious, our goal is to mainstream these ideas, to make them so normal and accepted that we no longer need to have a dedicated conference to talk about them. We will have completely internalized them. They're just a part of our identity and our culture, a part of who we are, what we do, how we think, and how we behave. Some of you have much greater experience at this than others. You've been wrestling with it for longer, and have already confronted many of these issues that we're going to discuss over the next 2 days. For some of us, my service in the U.S. Armed Forces included, we still have challenges to overcome, stereotypes to vanquish, and issues to resolve. We have a lot to learn from each other. So if that's why we're here, what should we hope to gain in the next 2 days? To put this year's conference in perspective, I'd like to revisit the 3 pledges that I made at last year's conference. The first was to bring a dedicated and operationally experienced gender advisor, something I've happily done. The second was to encourage last year's participants to develop their own national action plans. And this year, we're going to dedicate part of this conference to discussing our progress on this important issue. Finally, I promised to encourage regional security forces to recognize the gender dimensions of issues like human trafficking and commodity smuggling by criminal networks, which we worked very hard to do at every opportunity. Now this year, I want to challenge us to do just one thing, but it's one very significant thing. Let's challenge ourselves to do better at collecting and sharing data on gender integration to help tell our story so we know how far we've come and how far we still need to go. How are we measuring progress? What are the meaningful, collectible numbers that demonstrate real change? I think we would all agree that there are only 2 really meaningful characteristics that matter. They are competence and character. But how do we measure true competence? How do we attach a number to real character? Ideally, a discussion on data should include ideas for developing a better way to measure performance and on applying objective standards for entry and qualifications into our security teams. I'd offer that any conversation about standards has got to go far beyond simplistic measures of strength and endurance. Of course, these attributes are important, but how do we capture more comprehensive measurements of intellectual and professional and character qualities as well? How do we objectively measure tenacity, commitment to mission, creativity, and the ability to build cohesive, effective teams? These are the characteristics that our men and women need if they are going to succeed in the missions that they are likely to face. So it's up to us, as leaders, to ensure that our forces have everything that they need to succeed and win. The right equipment, the right training, and the right mix of skills and experience. These are challenging topics. For us to make real progress, we all have to go outside our comfort zones. We have to push ourselves. We have to expand our intellectual horizons and tear down our preconceived ideas. To help with that, the setup for this year's conference is very different. You'll see, even the seating is different. That's by design. We want to break down the barriers to conversation. Our goal is to foster more candid and interactive discussions about these important topics. Conversations that are honest and meaningful and can build mutual trust and confidence in our shared goals. We accomplish more together than when we trust one another. We're also doing something else, something we don't normally do in a military conference. We're leaving our rank at the door. Inside this room, we're all equals with equal right to speak our minds, share our ideas, and respect each other's opinions. As commanders, we will be working alongside our gender advisors to help us build the kind of professional teams that we're going to need if we hope to achieve the ambitious goals that we've set for ourselves. I, for one, I've never been to a conference quite like this, so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to push my own boundaries. I hope you are too. So let's get to work. Manos a la obra. Gracias.